I really loved episode 3 because it was willing to show us a lead of Star Trek that had been truly broken down to nothing. And it set up a journey of humanity that ultimately paid off by the 15th episode. So I love that episode. I love episode 7, the time loop episode, because it showed a way to do a quintessentially sort of sci-fi episode, but then there was still sort of a core emotional component to it where Burnham is sort of falling in love and sort of wrestling with feelings that she's not had before. So I love that one. And I really love episode 14, the war without, the war within, which because I just thought that was a frantic sort of way of showing the Federation and Starfleet in really dire straits, and sort of showing what people are willing to go, the lengths that people are willing to go, or the lengths that war and violence sort of push people to go. We always wanted to make sure that the Federation and Starfleet were redeemed, but you had to kind of, that was the darkest tunnel. And but I felt like Lisa Randolph, and who wrote it, and the director of that episode just knocked it out of the park. And the breakup scene between Michael and Tyler, I thought was really great. And I thought that James Frain was awesome in it as well. So I like that one.
I wanted to, you mentioned Time Loop episode, which I think is my favorite, but what was fascinating about that was what was going on with Anthony Rapp sort of in the media with regards to Kevin Spacey, and then you also have the storyline with Tyler and Laurel that I thought was really beautifully handled. A lot of stories about sort of male, female, like female on male, I guess, sexual assault aren't handled with that kind of care, and so I wanted to ask you, like, what does it mean to you guys to be able to tap into these sort of deeper topics with the show and exploring those?
Well, honestly, we had done that storyline before any of this had come out. So it's one of those examples of a show sort of falling into the zeitgeist rather than the other way around. Typically, you would say, "Oh, this is a debate and this is an issue people are kicking around. Let's explore it." But actually, we fell into it. I think that we thought that it would be interesting to show, and I think Shazad Latif's performance, it just is it's a different side of what you would call sexual assault that isn't as explored. I think that Shazad's willingness to be so vulnerable and so open with Burnham was a very interesting place to take it. And then that's a conflict between Laurel and Tyler will continue to sort of play out. I mean, he stays with her at the end of the season, and we'll see how those issues kind of come up again.
Yeah, I feel like also we, one of the opportunities of being on a streaming format, is that we were able to explore an aspect of, when it came out of the characters of Laurel and Tyler and how they knew each other, and the story of being on that prison ship, and making sure that it made sense as we looked back, as we learned everything about the characters. And that was just an aspect of what the relationship was between Vok and Laurel, and the relationship between Tyler and Laurel, and being able to realize that there was this sexual aspect between the two of them and what that would look like. And it was so interesting to be able to talk about it and have the actors, as you were saying, with Shazad, but also with Mary, who's so fantastic, to entrust them, and they trusted us in order to tell that story, and it will continue. But it's something that we've never really got to go in that sort of depth of. It's a very specific relationship dynamic, obviously, and so it was handled. I was really proud of how it was handled by everybody.
So streaming is letting you go places show could never have gone before.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that's actually, and everybody said that when we started, and we're like, yeah, right. But I don't think we really, it would come up by situation that we would realize that, oh, you weren't going to expect somebody to say, don't do that, you can't do that, you can't show that, you can't talk about that. And our network partners have always been fantastic, and they've been very supportive of the story decisions, and because they trusted us to do it in a way that was respectful of our characters and the storytelling. So that was fantastic.
Even though it aired in prime time, those first 2 episodes, that's prologue. And that you'd never get a broadcast network to sign off on a prologue where, Michelle Yeoh's character dies.
Yeah.
That just wouldn't happen. And I think there would be a lot, likability is a buzzword that you hear a lot in broadcast television. We want people to, we want them to be welcomed into their homes right out of the gate. And the freedom that we had to, with the character of Michael Burnham, to start her in a very different place. That was a gift, and the opportunity to do things like, start with Mary's character, Laurel, who was just a bridge officer on the sarcophagus ship, and then, take her to a place where suddenly she's, ruling the Klingon Empire. And I think also the pace of the storytelling and we were able to be a little slower when it came to some of the character reveals. It was lovely. It was lovely, and we hope to do a lot more of it in season 2.
I'm gonna send more so than the redesigning show. Everybody seems to really relish those twists and turns and shocks. Georgia's death, Mary Carter's was that baked in from the beginning, or has it evolved, or some of them evolved over time?
Some of the reveals from the beginning we knew, but it was almost like reveals begat reveals or begat reveals.
we Gretchen and I just come from a place where we like to turn over cards, and often we'll start thinking, oh, this is going to take a whole season to reveal, and then you're thinking, pull it up, you get good stuff out of it. As long as the reveal was a game changer, we would do it. We wouldn't do turns just to do turns. I think that's one of those things. Giorgio dies, it has a ripple effect through the entire season. Yeah. Lorca is revealed to be Mirror Lorca. That affects how you view the series when you watch it a second time. So I think we always just, if it was ever something that would knock our characters for a loop, we were excited to do it. Culber's death. Those were things that were very baked into the season. One of the things that we were talking with another group, and they were saying, how did you get through this, and how did you manage to kind of pull this all together? And it's nothing short of a miracle, really, because we were so shot out of a Canon.
There was some planning involved, but
there was a lot.
You guys all know planning doesn't always mean that's what's going to happen. So,
but what it did allow us to do was have a sort of a unity of vision, and we really did lock arms and say, this is what we're doing. We don't have time. There's no room for doubt. This is how it's going, and you plow through it. So with some of the reveals, we pulled things up. Another thing that happened was, we were initially only supposed to do 13. And then as episodes started coming in and the network started getting more excited, they added 2 more. And that sort of shifted our storytelling quite a bit. We would have ended probably with the Mirror Universe and getting home. But then we had more to do. So, it was fun. It was fun to watch people get surprised.
Right. Yeah, it was fun.
The Star Trek fandom holds canon and continuity very, very precious, and there were a lot of things that kind of broke canon this season, but also then towards the end of the season kind of rectified it a little bit. When you guys are plotting out those stories, do you worry about breaking it when you're writing the stories, or are you like, okay, this is the story that we want to tell, and then later on, how do we fix that later?
Yeah, I think first of all, there's always going to be a flag on the play. We have so many people who are Trek fans, and worship at the church of it practically. And so we're not reckless. We're never being reckless. But I think a lot of times what we're trying to do is sort of challenge what canon is, the known canon, and get story out of it. And but I don't think our intention is never to blow things up in a reckless sort of. We take this show and the history of the show and what it is and what it means to people very, very seriously.
Yeah, we have the writing stuff that really keeps us honest, but then what we have to say is, okay, well, let's challenge ourselves. You know, if you throw up all of these walls, you're not going to get anywhere. So let's be creative. How can we get around it? How can we pay it off later and show the audience that we knew what we were doing? So normally when we do that, it is all about saying a few episodes down the line, see, we didn't, see, we knew. And because the episodes really were created as a unit, so it wasn't like, oh, and then we messed that up, so we need to fix it now. We kind of knew how we were going to do that along the way, and that's one of the things that we're excited about for season 2, because there's still many questions the audience is going to have about how Discovery exists in the timeline. These stories about Michael Burnham and her adopted Vulcan family. There's lots of stuff that that we want to do again this season in terms of making sure that Discovery has a very important and secure place in our timeline and in canon without breaking what everybody loves about it.
To follow that up, because I know people hate me if I don't ask this, the Klingon redesign obviously has been a huge, huge thing, and one of the most common discussions that I see is people talking about how that's going to play into canon and how that's going to be explained. Is that something that you guys are planning on explaining, or are you just taking it as, no, this is just a visual redesign and this is how we want it to look?
The Klingon redesign was something that when we joined, Alex and Brian were already well underway as far as what they wanted to do with the Klingons. And I feel like, personally, as coming into something that was sort of already begun, I thought it was beautiful and fascinating, and everybody's going to have a different point of view on it. But I really feel like that we will continue to remember, season 1's about a time of war. We move out of that time of war, there will be some evolution of the Klingons that, again, is coming out of a story point of view. And but our Klingons are our Klingons. Like, that's who they are. And I think I like them. So I like them a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we defend that choice. I mean, there's always going to be something that's polarizing, but the other thing is as we move ahead in season 2, and we will see Klingons again, there are going to be some opportunities for us to do exactly what we talked about, which is to kind of explain some things. We don't want to wipe that design.
We don't want to negate it,
and we love it and we support it, and so we'll do what we can to answer some questions, but beyond that, you can't please everybody.
Are we going to see Baby Spock? Young
Baby
Spock.
Spock? Baby Spock?
Young
Little
Spock.
Baby Spock? Well, what we can say is, Discovery and Enterprise, that is proximity, right? We know who's on board, and we also know that sibling stories are very powerful stories, and we're interested in those, and I think that's all I can say.
Okay, that's good enough for me.
Humor. Like the disco scenes, Tilly. I mean, how important was that to get that? And how much fun, or how much damage has that?
You're right. Like, sometimes I feel it's always about when it's appropriate or not. And one of the things that our cast does comedy so well, and they're very grounded in it, and we love writing it. Our entire staff loves writing it, and again, season 2, the war is over, and now we knew that we guessed they would be very good with it, but we're going to have more of it, and we're excited for that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I think being new to the Trek family, and we are, and we've made no secret of that. I think that we thought that the fans I mean, they do take it very seriously, but I think we also thought that they would expect a very rigid and serious tone. However, when you watch a lot of the episodes of TNG and you watch, Voyager, there is room.
And TOS.
Yeah, and of course TOS. There's certainly room for that, but I think that out of the gate we just thought, oh, people are going to want serious Star Trek. They want to know that we're taking care of it. And then when Episode 7 aired, the time loop episode, you definitely got to see that people were excited about that tone and were welcoming of that tone. And we love to write that. I mean, most of our career has been spent on, shows that have a blended tone and character comedy that comes out of character. So not just jokes, but like, why is it funny if why are Burnham and Saru just funny together right out of the gate? How is Tilly and Burnham's characters just lend themselves to this sort of odd couple vibe? We want to do more of it. I think that the fact that people were so embracing of it and accepting of it encouraged us to be able to say it doesn't have to be all serious all the time.